Welcome everybody back to My Hero Analysis, the My Hero Analysis Beyond, the MHA Rewatch Show. I normally have the answer for that on the screen, and I can just read it. But as always, we're always trying something new for like a setup, and yeah. I am Tom. That's my dog that's passed out right there on the ground, Eli, and I'm joined as always by Steph Slag My Thrilla. How you doing, Steph?
Doing all right. It's good to be back.
Yes, we took a week off, and we might as well cover all this stuff at the start. We're doing tonight's episode, then we're going to be out for 2 weeks, and then we'll come back again to pick up after that. And we're kind of entertaining the idea of doing every other week, because this is like the last season until season 5 is wrapped up. So you know, we'll talk about that though when we come back again. But after tonight, we'll see you guys again back here in 3 weeks, which sounds like a lot of time, but also time is weird these days. So who knows and who cares? Anyway, happy season 5, Steph. And hello to James. Yep. Hi. Happy season 5 to you, James, as well. I know Steph hasn't watched the season 5 opening episode yet. I have, and that's all I'll say.
I did see the new trailer for the new movie, though.
Crazy trailer for a number of reasons. One, you sent me the picture of all their like hooded looks, which I love personally, the way Shoto and Midoriya look with their hoods. But Bakugo looks like, okay, you remember they did it like a Hello Kitty MHA combo, and it's like the duck became Bakugo. I don't know the Hello Kitty.
I thought it was a penguin. It must have been something like
It was like when I saw him in that hood, and it was just like his mouth showing. He looked like that character from Hello Kitty, and I was like, that's because they have the explosion stuff built into his hood. It's just.
I thought it was going over his regular like apparatus, and then I realized that no, his hood that just has those things, and they're supposed to be like stealth looks. And I'm like, not very stealthy, like wings going on.
Definitely not very stealthy. He's the least stealthy person, as we talked about in the movie episode. Like, talking about, don't even. I'm not even going to put that up. God damn it! Because in the preview to the movie episode, they're like going to take on all these villains. Perhaps they don't know how many villains, and Bakugo's just like, let me just dash in there.
Yeah, he just like took off, and I was like, oh man!
Instantly explosion.
Yep,
that's his whole thing. He's not. James loves your fat gum sweater, which I think is adorable.
I'm excited.
It's so cute. I just love the way how he looks so chibi on that sweater.
And he's got his little buddies.
Yep. Yeah. He's so great. But it's also funny because like, we've watched this whole season before. This is our rewatch. So we kind of like know, he's a respected pro hero, but we come to an episode tonight where he hasn't met everybody yet. And he doesn't want to really plan. And it was kind of like shocking to kind of like be like, oh, that's right. He's kind of still new at being a pro hero in a sense. And like, the planning stuff is part of being the actual pro. But I also get the passion that he has. And that's why he's so great. He's just so passionate and lovable. Yeah.
And when we get to that episode, I didn't realize that he was basically like the guy between the big heroes and like the cops. Like he's there on the ground floor taking care of a lot of different things, which was really cool.
Yep. Yeah. Which I mean, kind of makes sense for specific heroes, right? Because like him and Red Riot, they're not the type that like kind of can fly in, and they're not fast. They're not built for that. He's great for Fatcom's great for like capture, and he says that in tonight's episode. But back to the movie trailer. It's funny because like a lot of the movies so far have been like, this could totally be in continuity, right? And it kind of fits in. This one, they say in the trailer, Deku is on the run from being framed for murder, and it's like it's on the news and everybody's talking about it, and like we know because we both have read the manga, like where this takes place in the scheme of things, and I'm like, that's not in continuity whatsoever.
No,
like, we're just jumping out on the outside now, which is fine. I'm fine with it.
And it's funny that it's Deku of all people. If it was Bakugo, it'd totally be bleak.
Totally. And then I could still see it as being a part of continuity, because Deku, come on. Funny though.
It's gonna be amazing.
I'm so excited, and that's the summer. Hopefully it comes out here at the same time that it comes out in Japan. I do not like the amount of time we have to wait for the Demon Slayer movie, which is next month, which I will actually be fully vaccinated by, so I might go see it in the movies instead of waiting until the summer when it's actually on digital.
For this movie for MHA, I'm actually going to go drive to Oregon and watch it with Mariana in the theaters, I think.
That's really cute. Yeah, you should totally do that.
Yeah, she's only 4 hours away, which is like the closest person.
No, that's so Tommy, my nerdy obsessions on Instagram, is only 4 hours away as well. And he came down for the Brawly movie when the Dragon Ball Brawly movie was coming out. And we had a great weekend. We went to go see the Brawly movie twice. We played Dragon Ball Fighter Z like all weekend. It was great. We shot toy photography like 3 days in a row. It was just really cool. So you'll have a blast. Have you hung out with Mariana before in person? No, so that'll be extra exciting then. I have this fucking Superman spit curl just bouncing in front of my head. Anyway, we've been bantering for a while.
Yeah.
Let's jump right into the episode. I will say my dog is unleashing unholy hell upon my nose. So if you see me covering my face, it's because I'm being gassed out of my room right now.
Oh.
And it is awful. All right. Anyway, let's get to tonight's episodes.
Yes. This part, like the whole episode with him and Mario kind of interacting with each other for the first time, was kind of sad for Deku. I felt bad because he hasn't been out on like any of these like walks, or what do they call them? Whatever, beats where they're trying to like look for trouble.
They're on patrol. It's typical hero patrol. Yeah. And
I was like, oh, he didn't get a really good internship yet. He's still just like the guy of the big action segments. He's never actually had like the normal day-to-day
robbed of everything normal.
Yeah. He's like everything else. But the two of them in this little interaction about what's your name, I don't even know who you are, really kind of thing was kind of like, it kind of starts their relationship through this entire like little arc. And it was kind of nice to see, even though Mario's hair is like ridiculous, but it was good.
It's extreme ridiculous because it's a little bit of Present Mike like up in the front, but he totally has the mullet rocking in back. And it's like, sure. But I love Mirio. I forgot like when this happened, like I forgot at this point because again, we've watched this season already. Like that this is them for the first time really kind of getting to know each other. So when they're going through this whole like introduction thing, I'm like, they haven't done this, but aren't they like old friends? I'm like, oh, that's right. This is like the start of things.
Yeah.
And it's so cute.
It's definitely, you could see the difference between the two of them. And like at this point, you're like thinking about, oh, maybe Mario would have been a better choice and all that good stuff if a car alarm didn't go off.
I was wondering if that was on your side or mine. But yeah.
It's California. But I was like, this is like the stark difference is their interaction with this moment, because you can see the innateness in Deku not worrying about rules or society telling him how to be a hero. He just knows when somebody needs help. Or Mario's got all that experience and he's just like, we probably should wait on this, and I have to listen to my boss and do what needs to be best. So it was a very telling, stark difference between them two of them. And
that's great. Well, we haven't had Smoke Alarm Kun in a while, so it's time for a car alarm Kun. But one of the things like that's great to kind of see the difference between these two, as you were saying, is like Miro's also worked with Sir Night-Eye for a while, so like he kind of understands process, right? Like we'll see in this 3 episode set that's kind of the Night-Eye agency way. It's very much you plan to just ensure 100% efficiency, which means that yes, you might have to overlook an injustice happening right in front of your face, which is nigh impossible for the All Might way of teaching, which is you react before you even think about it, right? Your feet start moving before you think. So Deku kind of has to like relearn the way to be a hero under this specific agency. And I think it's great because it'll kind of like give him a little bit of a different way of looking at the whole hero world. There's like music happening now.
think it's an airplane. I'm having all kinds of craziness going on. It's a time change.
Yep. It's messing with everybody.
It's too bright now. So this interaction, though, for me at least, when I rewatched this with Overhaul, like I think my first, like when I watched this season, I didn't really like him as a villain. I think he was like very pretentious and like kind of weird. Because I liked
he is pretentious and kind of weird. So
yeah,
right.
But I kind of like got a better idea on this whole thing now, like rewatching this at least 3 episodes, at least at the very like the interactions and everything between him and Tamara too, kind of seeing how everything's going. Yeah. But at least his interactions with the heroes too, like this point where he's like trying to get them off his scent basically, and Deku's just not having any of it. So
I actually really like Overhaul. So again, read the manga before seeing it in the anime, and like I don't know what it is. I felt like he was a stronger villain in the manga before like the anime, and I think it has just to do with the the speed of the anime. The anime is a lot shorter than like 3 volumes of like a manga, but like rewatching it, I kind of like the same thing. Like I actually really like Overhaul as a villain. I kind of like the villain on the back half of this season better, just because he's quirky in some ways. But like Overhaul is a very good threat of a villain kind of thing. And it's cool to rewatch it and kind of like pick up a little bit more on his nuances and his OCD disorders and stuff like that, and his need for cleanliness, and it's a neat way of seeing him again.
Yeah. And obviously like this is a more adult themed kind of like villainy going on too, because you have like the intricacies or whatever of the drugs, and then poor Eri and everything else happening at this time frame. So
exactly. Yeah, this is the first time we're dealing with like, and I feel like I think it's Gran Torino says it in the 3rd episode we'll get to tonight. It's like when you're dealing with superheroes, you kind of have to be prepared for the worst, right? Because it's like it is going to be the exact opposite, and like none of the heroes in that room think about child abuse and like like cutting pieces off of a child to make a miracle drug to become part of like something that would be in their lives. It's not even something they could fathom. They're faced with that stark reality now.
I do notice like during this part too, because Deku's like carrying her and they're going on like talking and stuff, and Murio's trying to get him to stop it at this point in time, but Murio never actually like interacts with Eri at all. Like he's so busy surveilling everything and trying to figure out how to get out of that situation so they can get back on the mission. But it's just interesting. Like I like how they don't show his eyes, but like Deku you can see everything. It's just really well set up. So,
and I think a lot of that too is also because Deku is all about reacting to Eri during this, and Mirio can see that, and he is also like, we can't, like, we'll learn, obviously, it's killing Mirio too that he wasn't able to help in this situation, that he's stuck on a mission, especially when he realizes what's been happening. But like, he is just trying to do what his sensei has been teaching him to do, which is, you got to do this, buy the books, just do reconnaissance. So he's there's at least he's in a partner situation. His partner is dealing with like all the care. So I wonder what it would have been if it would just have been Mirio in this situation, what he would have done.
I don't even know if he would have even reported her really. So it's like kind of like he sees it as more information, where Deku's like, this person is obviously in trouble. So
I think if she bumped into Mirio and Deku wasn't there, I feel, knowing Mirio, he would have reacted very similarly to Deku. But he is an emotional guy, really like caring, and it's just, I do think that. I think because they're together, there is already someone who's kind of doing that, and I think it's easier to kind of like project the rules when somebody else is already doing what you intrinsically would do. But who knows?
But I do like that he noticed that it was like murderous intent is why Eri left. And it was for their own safety. And he wasn't sure what was happening at that point either. So they had to go and talk to Night Eye to figure it all out. So just some more of them getting into contact and everything like that. I think this is only lasted like for the first like 5 minutes, right? This whole interaction. And then we kind of jump back into school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. this is like a kind of a quick beginning. I kind of like James's thought here. I think it would be a really interesting costume, especially knowing that his costume is like woven from his hair. But yeah, if they could somehow do that, where it's like a digital screen that kind of like counts down. But then he wouldn't be Lemillion. He'd be like Lid 900,999.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is when Deku was like talking about it, and then Night Eye is trying to explain to him what they're doing and why it's taking so long, and kind of where they came from and everything else.
Yep. I think like this. I think a lot of what Night Eye says is very curt sounding, but there is a lot of thought and care behind his words. He just doesn't have. He wants everybody around him to have the smile and be lighthearted. I think because he's incapable of it. I really do think like that's a big part of it, because he's not ever smiling. He's not ever joyful, but he demands that of the people next to him. So when he says like the world isn't so lenient that you could just save her with good intentions, like he means well saying this, though it's a rough sentence to say to someone who really just wants to help out a girl who's obviously hurting, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it's also funny because he might be even saying it to himself.
That's quite possible too. Yeah, you make a good point.
I just feel bad for her.
Yeah. Yep. Especially because, like, oh man, again, later on in these 3 episode set that we're going to talk about, there's that moment where she's like in bed and she's just thinking about the fact that Deku touched her in a like in a caring way, like he held her without causing abuse. And she was like, I've never been held like that before. And then the episode ends on her crying just thinking about that, because she's been abused her entire life, which is terrible.
Yep. 2 boys are beat up. This part.
Yep. I do love that they talk about them like they're not there. It's great.
Yeah. Now there's definitely an echo.
Is there? I don't hear it.
Oh, now it's on my side. Perfect.
I'll turn mine down a little bit. That should help.
I just like the screen because Deku's mind is always so chaotic with the muttering and everything going on, and his stopping to think how everyone's reacting and how he wants to react, and like his whole process before we get to the 3rd episode in this set is actually so out of character, but so like growing as a child to adulthood is actually, it was really neat to see. I forgot all about it. It's
kind of interesting that no one else picked up. Like I would imagine that Ochako would have like pulled him aside and be like, what's going on? Because it's a very easy read, like for someone like Deku, because like you said, he always has a 1,000 things going through his mind. He's like nervously happy all the time in a lot of ways. And yet now he's quiet. He's kind of just thinking about Eerie, the situation that he couldn't save her. And he's just alone and he's feeling isolated in his thoughts. And I feel like that must come out, but he also can't say anything because it's like this mission that he's on. So it's great that at least when they do actually go on the bigger, grander mission, a couple of his classmates are there alongside of him and they get in on it. And Aizawa, and there's that, my favorite moment of the 3 episode set is when Aizawa just like fist bumps his chest. I felt bad for him is really it.
He's also thinking about All Might not telling him everything that he needs to know, and how he's like, what the hell am I supposed to be doing? Why the hell would you send me somewhere when someone obviously doesn't like me? Like, what's going on? Yep. And so this confrontation between him and All Might, and him demanding All Might tell him something, and it wasn't something that he really wanted to hear. So. Yeah,
no one ever wants to hear that their idol / mentor / sensei / person over them. Like basically their surrogate father in some ways is projected to die by someone who could actually tell the future.
It's just such a... And it's like, there's a lot of really good moments. There's a lot of stills on these from...
Honestly, this still alone is one of my, like when watching it, because it's a very slow and looking to the side to look at Deku when he realizes like why he's there. You feel it. It felt like emotional. It's also like one of the few times that like we see powered down All Might that's not like goofy, right?
Mm-mm.
I'm actually really excited for you to see the season 5 opener because it's so lighthearted and there's like just goofy looking powered down All Might in it, and it's great.
We just get this hard like story. I do. He's all beat up, but Gran Torino's in his gear up too, like got beat up as well. So it's like funny to me that Night Eye's in a suit and the principal's in a suit, and then they have everybody else at the hospital.
Yep.
But like this is like a moment where All Might's trying to be better because he knows he has to be, and like Night Eye's going against that, and it's pretty much to me the same kind of interaction that Deku and Murio just had. Like the same kind of feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got to be impossible though when you can't outright, like you have this power to see the future and you love the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you be intrigued to make sure everything's okay and like try to change the future if you can? I mean, because he says here that he'll try to change the future.
Yeah. But he knows that he can't too, which is kind of like
he believes that he can't.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
And this kind of just settles with Deku too, because he even says he's like everybody knows they're going to die at some point, but actually hearing it from somebody in front of you, it's just like it's hard for him.
Yep.
So. Oh, and this whole conversation, I couldn't stop on one line for it where he was so mad that he picked somebody else. And he's like, oh, a quirkless middle schooler is not somebody. And he's like, a quirkless middle schooler is at least somebody. Anybody would have been a choice, in my opinion.
But also, we know that he himself was a quirkless middle schooler when he was chosen.
Yeah.
So it's like it's extra special in that way.
It's kind of... And I think Night Eye's vision didn't have Deku in it. I think is what this whole thing was talking about too. Is that he was like a curveball.
Hey, Karalarm-kun made the trip down here.
Yeah, time travel. Oh my gosh! And I think these next set of images are just them kind of bonding about how they're not going to let that fate, But the way they had their fists in this was really, really cool. I think the next one is Deku with his arm out.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, nope. It's not.
No.
Talking about why he can't face Sir Night Eye.
Oh.
But so I keep disappearing on my own screen, and then the screens keep disappearing on my screen too. I don't know. So apologies if I cut out, but we'll try to keep going.
Yeah.
But I really like the whole twist in the future together promise. I think.
Oh, we lost Tom.
There we go. Hello.
There you go.
Sorry, guys. I knew that was coming. It was like giving me all the warning signs and everything. Might just be one of those nights. Let's get back into it. So, yeah. I get a little fist bump. I feel like this is the end of the episode anyway, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Nope, we get a little.
And then you have like a little Tamura coming to talk to.
Right.
Overhaul. It was like a little back in there.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Okay. Well, favorite moment of that episode?
I'm gonna go with some lighthearted one. I mean, there's a lot of really good moments that are serious, like I think it was like one big line there, but like the conversation with All Might and Deku was awesome. Murio and Deku is kind of like hanging out and everything. But I really like just having the kids back in class. So
it's sometimes nice to just fixate on the positive in a sea of things that are like meant to twist your heart a little bit. I'm going for one of those heart twisting moments. I go for when All Might hears those words from Deku and is like, okay, I guess we're confronting this now. He didn't want to have to confront it. He didn't want to have to stress him. But you have to. You can't keep. No one ever like progresses in any kind of relationship, even if it's like sensei and student, like secrets. The second you keep secrets is the second you're hiding something from somebody, and therefore there's like words not spoken, and that could become trouble later on, which caused Deku the strife enough to run after him and chase him down and find out what the heck's going on, because he shouldn't have had to find out the way he found out.
No.
But yeah, so good on All Might for at least talking to him and telling him some stuff. I feel like every time he does talk to him, though, he always leaves out something.
Yeah.
But
which Gran Torino yell at him later about.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's jump into my favorite episode, and maybe yours too, of season 4. Well, it's one of my favorite. I like a lot of season 4, but this is definitely
there's some good ones coming up too.
Yeah. No, there's some great ones. This one is like, it just has one of my favorite moments in it, and I named the episode tonight after it. So let's get right in.
So they have the two big villains fighting, and I happened to catch this. I noticed it flashed a couple times, and I realized I was like, oh, I have to figure out what this is, and it's just the lines from the black and white.
I love that it looks like it's like a charcoal drawing. It's really nice.
This is interesting. It's just them fighting, and then it just like flashed to that.
What a weird looking kaiju monsters too. Like, look at that giant headed thing with the big belly.
Is that a tongue too?
Tall dude. Is that what that is? Is that a tongue?
I don't know. And then we get introduced to like Nejiri-chan. Is that how you say it?
Nejiri-chan.
Which is the greatest superhero name ever.
Yeah, it's just her name with Chan.
Yeah, just super cute. But I love the lettering for this like intro for like her and Ochako and Froppy. All three of them have like the cool little things.
Yeah, they all get like little intro splash screens. And this is great too, because like, so I watched this episode after you and I were texting about her powers. So it's like because I had been reading about her powers, because she's a, what would you call her? A third tier character in MHA. I feel like her and like Sun Eater and some of the characters aren't like, they're not Aizawa, which would be a second tier, or like even half the kids from 1A, but they're like the next step down. Yeah. So like a lot of the third tiers, I have a hard time keeping track of like their powers. And I knew her powers was like a spiraling yellow something that enabled her to fly. So I'm like, oh, it must be like wind powers or something. But no, it's energy based on her it's energy based on her energy. Yeah,
yeah. Like rewatching this, I'm like, what does she do? Because she was like all crazy all over the place, and then it said
she's talking about like percentages and stuff. She's like, I guess 30% is her max output, and apparently 30% is like incredibly strong. She's like supposedly ridiculously strong with this ability. But
she's in a big 3, so she's got to be
no, exactly. And like whenever I was reading about it too, they're like, her abilities are slow, but they're so powerful that they cover a wide range that they're super effective.
And I think even whoever the dragon lady, I'm going to call her because I can never remember her name.
It's like Ryuku or Ryuki or something like that.
But she even says, "Oh, your timing's getting better." It's like I think that she comments on that too. And then these two, I don't know. That's the move.
Yep.
Roots guys. So I was like, okay.
That's I know that has something to do with like rocks. Like that actually translates to like a geology term of some sort. But I cannot remember the exact like root of that, but it has something to do with it.
Well, very cool. This was awesome. I just wanted that for the name. It was like super cool.
Well, it's great. I always love when they do the halftone look too, because it's like, these are like, yes, it's based on a manga, but it's based on a manga and it's a story about superheroes, classic superheroes. You think classic comics, you get the halftone, and it's always cool seeing it, because it wasn't like this in the manga either. So it's like, I love the fact that Bones will inject the animation with some of this stuff.
The same thing with like Froppy's next one. It was very.
I wish it didn't look like a 4-year-old drew her bubble letters, but it's still
good.
Hey, Mariana's here.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, Ryukyo.
You.
Oh no, if Mariana was on here, she would know exactly how to say
Dragoon hero. So I'm gonna call her that.
Well, she turns into a giant dragoon.
Which is like one of the coolest quirks ever. Like, imagine being a 4-year-old and be like, "Oh, I could turn into a dragoon." Like, your parents would be not happy.
But I mean, I bet because a lot of quirks are handed down. I bet like her parents, one of them might turn into a dragon or something.
And then she's talking about later on that the Ochako and Froppy are going to be useful for what they're going to do. I think they call it that thing or that,
Yeah, that thing, I think, or something like that.
And then they're talking about the siege of his stronghold.
Yep, taking on Overhaul. That little guy in the back, I forget his name. He says it in this episode too. But he's so cute, but it does not go with his power at all. Like, especially when he grows his arm to be gigantic. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So I think he's like they call him like Crab or something like that. I don't remember what it was. It was like a weird name for his power in general. So
no, his I thought his name actually kind of worked. It's not Changeling, but it's something like that.
Oh, Mimic. That's what it is.
Is that what it is? Is it Mimic?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but like that's so bizarre. Yeah, but we get this.
Get mad at him for reaching in his pocket too, and like Tamura does not need a weapon to like take anything down.
He doesn't, but at the same time, like I understand why they would do this because they're protecting their boss. This is the leader of another organization where the last time they met, one of their guys got disintegrated into dust. Overhaul killed one of theirs, removed the arm of another. So like it's a very tense situation off the jump, right? So it's kind of like the second he makes any motion that could possibly be like he's doing something nefarious, you got to jump on him. Because you also know that Tamura, he doesn't need a weapon, but he also does need to touch you. Like he needs to, at this stage in the game, he needs to put all 5 fingers on somebody to disintegrate them.
I also like that he puts his feet up on the table because he's only doing it because it pisses off Overhaul.
We were talking about Jiri. Apparently, it's short from "Falls from the Skies." Oh, are we talking about the Farfar Sky?
Yeah, the Far Skis.
Sure. Also, Najiri means twisted. That's great because her power is twisted.
Chan.
Yep. With the Chan, Twisted Chan.
Perfect. This is just interaction was just very different. It's like I didn't know how to take this because I don't think either of them really cared if the other one was there for the most part.
No, they they hate each other. Like it's pretty obvious from the jump, especially because like I love the fact that Tamura instantly puts his boot on the table, knowing full well that Overhaul would hate that. And then he even says, he's like, "Can you please remove your boot from the table?" He's like, "Just so you know, I am not your underling." And he kind of like sets the tone immediately. He's like, "I am here because we should be partners, like half and half. You want to use me, I want to use you. I'm still going to do what I want to do, such as put my boot on this table, and you could do what you want to do."
He's just chaos incarnate for his character.
One is chaos, the other is ultimate control, basically.
This works so well.
Let's go, Gutsy Red Ryoto.
The 3 of them are hands down my favorite team of like, and I love a good team Bakugo in these things, but it's just like they're so well balanced. Yeah,
and like I love Tamaki's his personality that he brings to this group because Fat Gum is very outward, like, and he's very animated and lovable, and like he's getting food from passerbys. He's like asking them what they think about the situation that just happened. Like, he's feeding off the crowd around him. We already know Kirishima is like, he's all about supporting his friends and like really building them up and getting really psyched up about manly activity and things like that. And then you just have Tamaki in the background just like pulling his little hood down and being like, I don't want to be looked at, or my power's not good.
I think he even says at one point, he's like, Fat Gum only like recruited him to torture him, make him go outside.
Totally. And I love it because he needs it. He's ridiculously powerful.
Mhm.
Tamaki has one of the coolest powers. Like, oh my god, if I got to have my powers where like what I eat kind of controls my powers, I would have a ball with that, you know?
So he's actually really funny too, like the entire time. Like he's not even trying to be funny, but it's great.
Yeah. I also love that fact I'm always teasing about his weak mind. He's like, his one weakness is his mind.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not talking about intelligence. He's talking about like how he views himself.
Mm-hmm. Which later on, I mean, he gets that bad guy. The bad guy calls him a name, and then he goes straight into the wall, and just in shame.
Yes, he has some great moments in the season 5 opener. I'm excited for you to see that.
And just Fat Gum's powers are just crazy cool.
Yeah,
just
he basically absorbs anything into him.
Mm-hmm.
And we will learn that there's another part to that power like later on, but for now when he's in Fat Gum mode he absorbs.
Then we get to see Tamaki, a Sun Eater, in action, which is some of the best. Yeah, he is so awkward.
Tamaki is extremely awkward. I love it.
It's like the squid things at first. I remember first seeing this and being like, what is going on? Because there's way too many quirks happening. And then when he explains it, I was like, oh, that's really cool.
It's a cool quirk because, you know, in the second MHA movie, there is one character who has multiple animal quirks, but his quirk is Chimera, which is basically to just have multiple animal quirks. But when Tamaki shows up, he has this stuff, and then when he explains it, oh, it's really, I could, whatever I eat, I just manifest something, a characteristic of the animal that I ate, which is such an interesting thing. Tell me you guys watched the Zero episode. Oh, you mean I watched the first episode of season 5. I watched it yesterday because, you know, it premieres a day early on Hulu. So, yeah, I couldn't wait. I really, honestly, I mostly watched it because I wanted to see the new intro, outro. Because I know it's going to be mostly, I thought it was going to be mostly setup. Like, this is where we've been at so far. Though it was not. It was like a new standalone episode where they're just telling you everybody's powers, but it was like a whole funny thing.
I might have to watch it then after this.
Mariana, I was upset that I couldn't talk to Steph about that tonight because I would have loved to. There's Mirio has an amazing moment in that episode.
All right, I'll watch it after this.
Good. Be prepared always for MHA talk of all types on our MHA show.
We could go. This is just like going over. I think Tamura is just talking to him about how he knows about the drugs that are happening.
Yep.
And then it's kind of in between. I think Sun Eater getting shot. You're hearing his voice over the top of kind of like talking about what things are going on. So you're getting like both sides at once, the drug in action, and also like Tamura explaining everything basically. Yeah.
Then we jump back to our trio where Tamaki gets shot by a gun. Basically, after Fatcom takes down those 3 guys, there's somebody in the crowd who's like, my brothers, and he pulls out a gun and he shoots Tamaki, and Red Riot gets right in front of him because, you know, he's worried about more gunfire, and he gets shot right in the head, but luckily his hardening prevented the bullet from hitting him. So, yeah.
And then the guy takes off running, and our gutsy Red Riot takes off after him. And
Tamaki thinks he's going to be able to just subdue him right there with tentacle arms, but he outstretches his arms. Tentacles, it's such a gross thing. They kind of like start to come out of his fingertips, but then they like, and they go right back in. Like, not today.
I think it's the first time too you see Sun Eater actually panics about like the way he fights and everything too, because usually he's either like really timid or he's very action oriented. And there's it's a really good.
I love that he just has to put like a red in front of the stuff he's doing. Yeah, because it's like, dude, all you did was punch him. Like, yeah, you countered, great. It's not a special move. You just countered somebody.
It is when you yell it really loudly.
It's true. It's true. And that's totally a Kirishima thing to do.
Yes, it's amazing. Can you imagine, though? Because Bakugo's not going to be yelling these things, so someone's got to be fighting next to him, yelling some cool moves.
Bakugo yells his stuff all the time.
Yeah, but he said that, like, I don't think he yells as much as Kirishima, like, gets into, like, counter and kicks and everything.
Bakugo has like his 3 big moves, and when he uses them, he definitely yells them. But everything Red Riot does, he yells them out. Yes,
he's good at clipping.
So here we see one of those power enhancer drugs that is all the rage in the My Hero Academia Vigilantes comic. That's what that comic mainly has to deal with, is the early days of this drug. And so it's a power boost. Mariana says, yelling red before things is manly, guys. Come on. You're absolutely right. Red breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay, just so you know, all my stuff is starting to spin again, so if I cut out again and disappear, I will come back. It will be hopefully fairly quick.
Okay.
Yeah, we have our splash screens. I took out the Krishna one because we already had seen that.
Okay.
He likes things that are manly. But I love that Tamaki loves butterflies.
It's a cute screen.
Yep. And so they kind of pick up on the fact that the bullets must be carrying something. So he figured out why, because he's like, getting shot, it didn't really hurt, kind of thing. It's just like more shocking than anything else. And then he couldn't use his power. And I think that's when he realized that, there was something more that happened than just me getting shot by a bullet.
And I think that's when Fat Gum also realizes it too, because he's going to leave him there to be in charge while he chases after, and he has to wait for the police. Then he can't leave. Yeah.
So because he can't actually subdue the criminals on his own, Fat Gum has to hang out and wait.
This is when the villain called him a name. When he places that in the corner.
We see Red Riot on his debut, basically having some tough time about the now powered up guy who was crying about the fact that his blades can't extend like more than like a few meters out of his body. It's like, it's honestly, I honestly took it as he was basically making fun of Wolverine. Because I'm like, my knives can only go about like this far. And I'm like, so you're just saying Wolverine's powers aren't cool in this powerful world. So he jacks himself up and his blades just start shooting out of everything. Like one shoots out of his eyeball. It's
gotta hurt too, because he doesn't have like hardening or anything like that either. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, it comes out of there, but it doesn't cut the eye or anything like that. Like the way how it's drawn was very strange. Just kind of like his skin isn't actually skin. It's like, I don't know, like water or something, and the blade's just kind of coming out of that.
Yeah,
it's weird.
There's just a lot of really cool. This whole sequence of them fighting is just really well done because Kirishima looks amazing the entire time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, because then
I do love this. Yeah.
Yeah, because he goes back to this point where he's sitting down talking with Sero, Denki, Bakugo, and them, and he was trying to say that he's not really like long range attacks. Like he doesn't know how he's gonna hold up by himself.
Sorry for 1 second. The autocorrect on this, I was trying to read this, and I'm like, what is Mariana even saying? Not to self, kids. Drugs are bad. Like, wait, what? I'm like, note to self, kids. Drugs are bad. I get it. I get it. It was just really funny.
But this is like really telling about like kind of like friendship between him and Bakugo, because Bakugo like calls him on his shit because he's like, the whole reason why I even talk to you is because you say cool things all the time and you put your money where your mouth is, basically. Yeah. And then you say you were going to be a horse that never wavered. You don't have to be long range or short range. You're just going to be awesome being able to stay put and plow through. So it's actually. And
this comes after the conversation where they're training and All Might is in a distance is telling him like, no, just be the guy that bulldozes through. You don't have to, you don't have to have the big flashy like range move. And I get it. Like when you are surrounded by people like Bakugo who have like crazy power and like can super speed their way across things using that power, like he has everything, right? And so does Shoto, and so does Midoriya, and like, a lot of the kids have like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I do love their friendship here, where he does say, like, yeah, dude, you remember what you said, right? Like, yeah, just do that. Like, that's why you're awesome. You're awesome in your own way. Like, Colossus is one of my favorite X-Men for a reason.
It's like the Thing.
This is so awesome.
Just the hardening of all his body parts over and over and over and over.
And the creaking and like the grinding and the sparks flying off of him and stuff. Like, yeah, I love it. The first time I like read this happening, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
It's just the way they explain it too. It's just cool. Yep. There's no other words for it. It's just very, very cool. And I like that he knows that it can only last for 30 to 40 seconds.
Yes. It's very short, but he could do a lot in that short amount of time. He just got to put an end to it soon. Or really what he's trying to do, he's not even trying to put an end to it. He's really just trying to give the people behind him a chance to escape. None of them are. They are standing around and watching this the whole time, which is ridiculous.
Well, he didn't tell them to run away yet either.
He didn't, but you'd think if a dude's shooting blades everywhere and the hero that's in front of you is getting cut, and this hero in front of you is like, has hardened skin and whatnot, and he's getting cut, like maybe get the hell out of there.
This looks awesome.
This transformation, I have a GIF of it saved on my phone that I look back on quite frequently because I love it.
Oh.
Wait, who did you think was a villain? You thought Red Riot was a villain?
Just because of the way he's like looks.
But were you not reading at the same time, Mariana? I'm intrigued by this now. But yeah, this is awesome. I love it. I wanted to put a video up, and maybe I should have, but whatever. That one dude.
I think the move comes after this too. I got a little preemptive with thing because he actually says the move and has like the little writing and everything on right after this one. But yeah.
Red gun turret, and that one I understand this one, right? Because he's in unbreakable mode. He's dashing up, and like if he's unbreakable, he must hit like a Mack truck. So I understand that's a move, right? Sure. The counter is not a move. Whatever.
And then he got away because like he's trying to talk to him and like be Kirishima.
He feigned as if the abilities that the drug had given him wore off. And Red Riot was like, "Oh, it's okay. Can you stand up? Because I'll walk you out of here, but you're under arrest," kind of deal. And then he's like, haha, I got you. And he dashes by him because Red Riot's 30, 40 seconds wore off. So he couldn't go full unbreakable anymore. And he powered down. And so this guy dashes away. But luckily, Fat Gum was there at the ready.
And then gives him the little lecture about how there's 3 different ways that a villain can lose. Or they can lose a villain. It's like by killing him. Like, all this stuff. There's only one way that they win, which is basically stopping them and giving them no more will to fight.
Yep.
And my favorite thing is that he's the BMI hero. I forgot about that until I saw this when I texted you. But I was like, oh my god, I forgot that's his nickname.
I forgot that too, but it makes sense. The body mass index hero. And he's getting lauded from all the people around him. Like, you were amazing. What a debut. You're so gutsy.
Yeah. I think it says his name is Red Riot. And I know Fat Gum was super happy for him too. But then they have like kind of like the flashbacks, which I think we get in the next few episodes, like an explanation.
We'll get it not the next time we meet. I believe we get it the time after that. We get the second Red Riot specific episode. But what a great, because he's like, he's being praised for saving those people, but of course he thinks back to the time he couldn't, and the time his legs didn't move. Like he's come a long way, and it's like one of those things where he's come a long way. It might not be visible on the outside, but where he's come a long way is up here. And I think he needs to kind of like, he's someone who projects on the outside, and builds up those around him, but he needs to work on building himself up too.
And I think that's also a good reason why him and Bakugo work so well together, because Bakugo likes to only worry about certain people, not everybody else.
Like himself?
Yes. But now Kirishima too. And I think Deku will finally get in there one of these days. But it's just like one of those things that that he definitely picks and chooses who he's going to say things to. And I think Kirishima values that, knowing that at least somebody that is as strong as Bakugo as well is valuing him. So
it's true. And I also think it's great for Karishma to see somebody who doubts themselves way more, who has a ridiculously powerful quirk that he gets to work alongside of, like Tamaki.
Yeah, they need to take his hood away from him.
I love his hood. It has such a cool pattern on it too.
Yeah, very. And this was super cute when the kids are all excited because he got it in the Yap, whatever that is. It was like in the Yelp for heroes. That's what I was thinking it was. And so,
Yahoo maybe or something too.
Well, they're all excited. There's articles about him, and then I think it's Mina's excited about the girls, but Bakugo's not excited at all about either one of them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's stewing in the background in all of these. It's great.
I like how that's been his new thing now. It's like he's not able to rage, but he can sit there and just be jealously angry the entire time.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. And then we see freaking Deku beating himself up again.
He's beating, like, he knows. And it's funny that it's like eating away at him that much because it's just like one little interaction and that's all that he can think about.
But that's it. That's how he is. He obsesses on things, and he's obsessing on that thing in particular.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be the greatest hero, but if he can't save a single girl, that basically takes away the idea that he can be the great hero he wants to be.
Oh, that's the next one.
Oh, okay. So, favorite moment? I'm sure yours is just watching Fat Gum eat takoyaki or something like that walking down the street.
The whole thing with the three of them. I think that's like...
Oh, so the whole episode. Okay.
No, the whole episode. But I mean, they had the girls in the beginning and everything too. But it's like, you get to see Deku, Bakugo, like, it's heavy with those kind of heroes. It's really nice to see one of the other kids interact. Even Sun Eater is like you said, a third tier character. You get to watch them interact. Fat Gum's a third tier superhero too. Like, he's like way under most of them, but it's neat. It's really neat to see another side of the whole universe. So.
They do a great job building out characters, and this is one of the reasons why, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. The manga is ending soon. We entered in the final arc of the manga, and there's so much left undone with so many of the characters they introduced. I'm like, I was ready for this manga to go on for like another 10 years pretty much, and I'm feeling I'm going to be robbed when it's over, like in a year from now. But like, yeah, I love the fact that, we get little tastes of these other characters, and each one has such an interesting enough story that it can sustain like a whole season of the show pretty much. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a lot of spin-offs or something like that, but I would love to see it.
Like, we one internship we don't even see anything on for this entire season, and that's Tokiyama's. Like, he's off doing his thing, and we never really hear about it. So.
They talk about it like later on. We might get to it at the end of season 5. I don't think we will. I think it's going to be season 6, but they talk about it a little bit then. But yeah. Mine is Red Riot going Unbreakable.
I figured.
it's. I didn't really feel like I even had to say it.
No, well, I mean, it makes the whole episode, but like.
Mariana, I think this is. I don't think that. I think that's too soon. Personally, I think it'll be end of the year, like December at the earliest, is my guess. But I don't know. He's been on a tear. Like, usually it's 1 week will be we get a chapter, then we have to wait a week and a half for the next chapter, then it'll be a week between. But for the past like 2 months or something like that, it's been every 7 days a new chapter. But I don't know. I'm hoping that it's not just final arc. I think it's final arc and epilogue. If they don't give us a goddamn epilogue, I will be upset. That's it. So, all right, let's get into the final episode of tonight, which is basically just a bunch of heroes sitting around a round table.
Yes.
Which is great. I like seeing them all. This is the previous episode. This is the new one. Which is
just the kids leaving and them realizing that they're going on the same train, they're going on the same crosswalks, they're going to the same building, and they all end up at the, I think, Night Eye Association, right? Night Eye's building.
Yes. Well, they're going to, I don't know if they're going to Night Eye Association or they're going somewhere, or his agency, or somewhere like around his agency, because we didn't see a room like that, but it doesn't mean that room doesn't exist.
No.
I do love this Abbey Road inspired shot. I was going to make that the title for the main splash screen for tonight's episode, but it wouldn't crop well, so I didn't.
I just like the different walks too. It's really cute.
Yeah, it is.
And then they notice that Gran Torino's there, Aizawa's there, like they're looking around. Beku's like fanboying out because there's like so many people in this room.
There are a lot of people, but I think a lot of them are like G level heroes. they're like, wow, why'd you bring us local heroes in there? But everything kind of becomes clear to everything. An unpleasant talk.
Yeah. This guy's voice is like the creepiest thing on the
I forgot about his voice. It does not match him at all to me, but I kind of see why they chose that as well. This fan created character here, who has such a good look. I love that he's wearing like a frilly, dapper like suit, and his head is like a coiled centipede.
So weird, but it works.
Totally does.
Oh, I like how they're like. I think it's what's his name? The Lock guy.
Rocklock?
Yeah, he's just so rude. This entire like episode.
I mean, okay, you got to think about it from his perspective though too. He's not there with any kids, right? He doesn't have like any trainees. He's here what he believes is supposed to be on like some big huge mission that requires a lot of agencies to work together to take down something big. So when he shows up and then all of a sudden there's like a whole bunch of high schoolers there, and he's like, this is gonna, and they're asking questions about like every little thing that pops up. Like they use HN as an abbreviation, and they have to explain, oh, it's the Heroes Network. It's, it's basically like Yelp for heroes. It's how you find which heroes, whatever. And so like, yeah, from his perspective, I will agree with you. I hated Rocklock at first because he was so curt in this, but he becomes a character that continues to show up in the series. And I actually really enjoy him now. Which makes me go back and like look at his early interactions and try to see it from his perspective. And I would probably be as frustrated too, because I'm like, isn't this supposed to be a huge important meeting? But we're never going to get through this stuff. And the more we sit here deliberating, the more abuse this poor little girl could be suffering from. Oh yes, Mariana makes a really good point. He is also, we learn, a new father. So,
the kids there kind of triggering him.
Kids that are triggering him. There's a small child being abused, so he probably cares a lot about trying to save that child. There's a lot of little factors to it. But
I do like that Fat Gum says that these two have a lot of information, and both of them have no idea why they're there.
they don't understand the information.
They should have briefed them before they went in there.
I do love this because he's like, "Oh, did your powers come back?" He's like, "Look at this cow hoof."
Yeah, and then Maria's like, "Oh, you must have had beef bouillon for breakfast or something like that."
And they showed it too, which is adorable.
Poor Kirishima.
He's slow, but he's great.
Yeah, he's trying so hard, and then they kind of explain everything that's going on. That when Fat Gum is like the drug analysis champion or something like that. I don't even know what the hell they explained it to him. But he realizes there's human blood in cells, and that's when exactly I think Murio and Deku both realize at the same time.
Yeah, why Eri was wrapped up in all these bandages, because they kind of they stretch it out a little bit because we talk about the bullet that hit Kirishima, and that's how they got a clean sample, and that's why Kirishima's there, is because luckily if it weren't for him, they wouldn't have had a clean sample of this bullet to analyze. Yada yada yada. We've seen the effects on Sun Eater, and that's why he's there. Then they explain Overhaul's quirk, which is to break down and rebuild things. So whatever his daughter's ability must be some kind of descendant of that, and then that mixed with the bandages, clearly he's doing terrible things to his child.
Which, yes. It's kind of like the whole entire, I couldn't even imagine the feeling in their tummies, because they had possession of said kid by that one point.
And this is why when you were saying earlier, like, Mirio was trying to like kind of rush them along. I'm like, I think if he had any idea of what was happening, he would have scooped her up.
I think both of them would have just took off.
I love this drawing in the manga, and then seeing. I'm so glad they kept it for this episode. I love it. It's so beautiful. Yes, right. Yeah, they refer to her as the daughter in this, but yes, she isn't his daughter really.
I don't think he's much older than like Mario and them. Overhaul? How old is he?
I don't remember.
Wow, it's odd. Oh, he's got to be Tomorrow's age, which is a little bit older. Like in the middle. I don't know. I just like that. Like this guy likes All Might. That's his life.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they kind of like do their superhero thing where they say, "Yay, we're going to save her." And this is when you're right that Rocklock's like, "Okay, that's really nice and all, but we got to sit down and actually think about this and do this."
Yep. I love his intense looks because it's hard to be that intense looking with just those giant blue eyes that he has. Yeah. I forget why this pops up again.
I think because Deku's thinking about moments.
No, you know what it is? It's they're asking Night Eye about using his powers, and he's saying that no, he won't use it on like one of them. And they're like, why? And then because he does not want to go through this situation again, right? I think that's it.
Eva just made it.
Oh, hello, Eva. Welcome to the end of the episode almost.
It's okay. Thank you for joining.
Yes, exactly. We appreciate seeing you regardless. Yep.
Still more talking. Adults, boring stuff. And then we get to
I love this.
The whole moment. Oh.
Yeah, because they're all beating themselves up and everything like that, and I love that Aizawa has to keep telling them, you got to call me Eraserhead outside of school. I'm not your teacher outside of school. And I love this too because he's like, they go through this whole conversation, and Aizawa is like, I was ready to come out here and tell you guys, we're going to end the work study program right now. Like this mission is too big, it's too important, blah blah blah, too much for kids. He's like, however, I don't really trust you kids, especially you, Midoriya. You haven't regained my trust, so therefore you guys are going to come just so I can keep an eye on you, because if you didn't, then I know you'd go off and try to save her on your own anyway, and then you'd end up damaged and hurt and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? It's a good thing that they ended up bringing Deku.
Yes. And I think also because at this point, I think Mario's getting Sun Eater and Nidri-chan are both like trying to like help him like get better too.
Yep.
She says something really like profound too, and I can't remember what it was, but it was super cute and like made Mario like snap out of it pretty well. So something about
I forget what it was too.
Yeah. These two.
Yep.
And then I think this is when Night Eye actually starts talking about like understanding Deku has everything inside of him that he never understood about All Might too.
Yeah, he said like they are so much alike. There's something in him that's exactly like All Might that, he couldn't understand in All Might either. So it's like I think it's him admitting that he understands why All Might picked him. However, he still doesn't think it was the right choice, but hey, what can you do?
Nope.
Wasn't his call to make.
Nope. And I think Gran Torino basically says that. And this is the part we were talking about earlier where Aries kind of realizing there's something different besides being hurt all the time and scared. There's somebody else out there. There's something else out there that's kind and
Well, this is also right after we saw one of the Yakuza come in here, the one that's been like charged to take care of Eerie after Overhaul splattered the previous one and covered the walls with his entrails because they lost track of her. So the next one is like, just keep her happy. Whatever she wants, just keep her happy. That's all you got to do. You got to make her not want to leave. And this one guy is like, I don't want to be a babysitter. And he's like, he comes in there and just pats her on the head. And he's like, I'll buy you just toys, whatever toys you want. You haven't opened up any of these toys. I guess I'll just buy you more toys. Like, he doesn't want it at all. And it kind of reinforces the fact that, like, no one is giving this poor young kid just, like, attention or love in a way that, like, a kid needs to feel I don't know, important enough to want to grow up and want to be, whatever. But and then she met Deku, and Deku was really sweet, and it was like hilarious. Not hilarious. That's an awful word to use for this situation, but it was jarring to see that like she felt that way about a 10-second interaction, right? Like it was not a long interaction, but it was so profound to her that she's thinking about it later and crying.
Sorry.
Yes, I would too. We're all toy people here. Yes.
Oh, and ice cream. Oh my God.
But that's not what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the last screen? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we have and with the episode ends with a tear strolling down her face, and I think that just got real creepy all of a sudden. Talk about Vans and Candy Vans. So, favorite moment of this episode?
It's the cow hoof part. That part like made me laugh so hard because the two interactions, like it's so innocent because it's like, I did this, and then just like random, and then Mario's like, "Oh, you must have had beef bouillon." Like it was so cute, perfect.
It's great. You get to see their friendship that way. It's like you could tell they're just dumbasses together, like all the time. It's adorable. He's like cow hoop, and he's like, "Oh, I know exactly what you had for breakfast."
Yeah.
For me, like it's funny that you're picking like all these like lighthearted, goofy things, and I'm like, for me, it's when Aizawa recognizes, that there's a hero in Deku that he can't stop, so instead he'll just monitor and nourish, and he pounds his chest, and this is an emotional thing, and yeah, that's my favorite moment. So,
I think what's funny that like Aizawa is giving Deku all the mentorship that he's wanting from All Might. Like it's like a push. Like it's always trying, and like All Might isn't, and Deku like goes towards that way instead of like listening to Aizawa and what he's trying to say.
Hey, what can I say? I love that. I love that emotional shit. Yeah, like I think you absolutely nailed it. It's like we learned, All Might was who he wanted to be, who he looked up to and everything. But All Might is the worst teacher. Aizawa is actually like, we'll see a couple of missions that he'll go on with like Aizawa side by side. And it's like, I love watching Aizawa and Deku like together, working together. Like it's amazing. And he is like helping bring this child up from someone who can only like use a finger of their power to wanting to make change in himself. Let's see. Mariana's favorite part is when Aizawa basically gives up and tells the kids he's not going to stop them. Yeah, I love that too. It's like every time I tell you guys no, you just sneak out and do it anyway. Kids. I didn't see it as emotional. I saw it as a teacher being like, F it, you kids cause more trouble when I tell you no. I think that it was that overall, but I do feel like when he knelt down to Deku, he saw Deku was struggling, right, with this emotion of not being able to save Eri. He saw it in the meeting. And he also, he knows Deku enough to know like he would do something brash if he didn't allow him to come along. But he also knows that the reason why he would do something brash is because he's a hero. Like he has that heroism in him. And so I felt like there was that connection where he's like, when he hit him on the chest and was like, I'll watch you kind of thing. Like I felt like there was an emotional bit to that.
Yeah. Granted, it's what Deku has been needing the entire episode. He's been in his own head the entire time. And now for somebody older and like someone he respects to tell him that like to his face, I think was what he needed.
And luckily now he has his fellow classmates that also know the situation, knows what he was dealing with, and how they're going to kind of get through it together. So it's good that he can like lean on people now. Yeah. For the first time in this whole ordeal. There's just so much great stuff coming up with like Aizawa and Deku and like all of this. But I wish we could talk about episode 1 of season 5, but we can't because someone here hasn't watched it.
I'll watch it later.
I know, later. That's not right now. We can't even talk about it for 3 weeks when we'll already have like 3 new episodes to talk about.
We can talk about those too.
Yeah, but we probably shouldn't go too far into it. Whatever. Again, we can do whatever we want. It's our show, damn it.
Yeah.
So, sadly, Jujutsu Kaisen ended this week as well. We can't talk about that one either because, again, someone here has not finished watching Jujutsu Kaisen, nor should we really go into it too much. But I just want to keep busting Steph's balls for not being top of her anime. But yeah, all right. So again, next 2 weeks we will be off, and then we'll be back for the start of the raid on. I just want to call them the Yakuza because I cannot remember. Begins with an H, doesn't it? Like what they're called.
It's long though, too. It's like I always call it the Shie because I think that's just his first name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't even know.
Yakuza works.
Yeah, the raid on the Yakuza complex. We'll get the start of that next time, and that'll kick off a whole crazy set of episodes that will lead us to like the middle of the season, pretty much. Man, a lot will happen between now and middle of the season, and then. Yeah, if you haven't seen the trailer yet for the new movie, go check that out. It's really cool. I don't believe there's an English translation up for it yet, or at least I didn't see one. Wait, what are you going to explode with spoilers?
For Jujutsu.
Oh, yeah. No, Mariana is. I've been watching her story posts where she's dying for other people to read the manga, so she can also just talk about it with somebody. And I think it was funny because I was talking to Dan, and we were talking about how like the issue 0, like there's like a strain of not strain. No, there's a set of issues that are like mission 0 or something like that. And they're turning that into a movie.
Yeah,
so that's exciting. We're gonna have a movie for that. I believe this year. Is that December?
Yeah, it's supposed to be in winter. Yeah,
which is crazy. But again, I hope it comes out simultaneous. I feel like they got to get better at those simultaneous releases over there in Japan with us here in the States because these long waits are not cool. Oh yeah, no, okay, I missed this. I missed what she said. Read the manga. I'm going to explode with spoilers. Oh, winter 2022? I thought it was this one. God dang it. All right, fine.
We got 2 movies this year though. So we got MHA and then we have
Demon Slayer?
Yeah,
but Demon Slayer was a 2020 movie that we are finally getting over here in 2021. That's just rude. I want JJK figures, but not the ones that exist. What do you want? Tell me what you want.
Different lines too.
Because I'm very happy with the Yuji and the Gojo so far for SH Figure Arts. I'll say the Nendos look really good. I'm just trying to focus on just one line. I just wish that SH Figure Arts would get on top of their shit and put out more fucking figures. But whatever. The Nendos look great though. I'm cursing now not getting into the Nendos, but also I'm kind of thankful because I would go deep. But whatever. You got the Nendos, right, Steph?
Of course I did.
Of course. There's statues. There's great, gorgeous looking statues.
The Kodabukiyas are pretty.
I wish Kodabukiya statues for their size were cheaper because they're a little expensive, I think, for their size. Welcome back to early 2000s anime releases. No, this is the worst future. I don't know what the Me Too is for. More figures, perhaps?
I love that someone else talks like me.
Nobara? Is that her name?
Yeah, Nobara. Yeah, and then the Saki and then Hand Sword Guy.
Who the heck is Hand Sword Guy? Who's Hand Sword Guy? Megumi? I would not call him Hand Sword Guy. I call him Animal Man.
The blue eyes, white hair guy has a good. Okay, you're talking about Gojo now. He's like the easiest name.
dude, learn some names, James. You're killing me here. Nendo's Me Too.
Yes.
I know you got. Oh my God, Mariana! If there's anyone here that I would have been like, they have all of the Nendos on pre-order, it would be both you and Steph. Really, let's be honest. But yes. So cute. How dare you forget his name?
She's obsessed with Gojo.
Gojo. It is literally the easy. Well, Yuji's also really easy too. He has a sword that has a the curse guy. Yeah, I don't know his name either. He was in one episode or like 2 episodes.
Weird.
He's had like a no-name part so far, huh?
Yeah, because he's not even a curse user. He's just a human.
Well, he's a human with a cursed object.
Oh, okay.
Because that hand sword is a cursed object. So he's like, okay, there's Mai and Mai and May. Wait, what?
Saki? Isn't her name Saki?
So the sisters?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, one of them can't use curses and she uses cursed objects.
But she's still awesome.
Jesus. I'm not even going to put that up there, James. Oh, I did by accident. I didn't mean that. No, he's a curse user. Okay, so he's a curse user. There we go.
You've lost control of the comments.
Yep. I did. Well, I click it, and then a new one pops up, and then it moves. So it's whatever. Yeah. Here's something we could talk about. Toys related. The new Nendo Bakugo, which I pre-ordered instantly, and I'm so glad he was just a regular pre-order. He wasn't like a fall exclusive something or other that I rushed to pre-order and then is then up for another month. And I'm like, I didn't need to rush to pre-order. But that was a no-brainer order.
It's funny that they had like a winter time like con and everything, and you would think that the winter uniform would be perfect for it, but like they're like,
no, that's fine. I'm just happy that they're not done with MHA Nendos. That's really it. I was just happy to see a new one. I mean, I wish it was a new character, but also I'm very happy getting more faceplates for the characters I have. And I will buy good smile. Good smile. This is me talking directly to you. You put out any Nendoroid, My Hero Academia, anything, I will buy it. And you know who else will too? Steph. So.
Eva.
I mean, is she wrong?
No, I squealed when I saw that. It was not a good noise. Yeah. Thanks, James.
We do need a Denki. I want Aizawa like immediately. I kind of want Aizawa first. Actually, if you know who I really want first, no one else is going to join me on my Mr. Compress crusade. No,
I've been
but that's not who you want next. I know that.
Well, my next is not going to happen for a while.
Your next is Fat Gum, right?
No, Sero.
Oh, that's right. I can see Sero. Like I do want all of 1A as well.
Oh, that's right. I did do it live with Eva and James when I saw it.
Oh, really? Yeah. We'll take Bakugan off the screen. Oh, wow. Okay, my food is going to be here in 4 minutes, apparently.
Oh.
It was supposed to be 100 minutes, but it's only been...
It was 70 to 100 minutes, right?
Was it? I don't even know. I don't know.
I remember that part.
Oh, okay. So then, yes. Anyway. So my food will be here. I have ramen and karagi coming, so I'm very excited. So we're going to end the episode so I can go eat for the second time today. All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you want to. If not, no big deal. And we'll see you guys again in 3 weeks for more. My Hero Analysis Beyond. And enjoy season 5. I think it's going to be a lighthearted first half of the season. And then we'll go into some darker stuff for the second half. But it'll be fun.